Welcome to week 5 of Professional Practice 1. In this lecture, we focus on Batas Pambansa Bilang 220, commonly referred to as BP 220, which sets the standards for planning and construction of economic and socialized housing projects in the Philippines. As future professionals in the field of architecture, understanding this law is critical in addressing the country's housing needs. BB 220 was enacted to institutionalize standards that would make housing affordable and accessible for low-income families while ensuring safety, habitability, and livability. These projects are typically implemented under government programs or through public-private partnerships. The law also reflects the government's response to urbanization challenges, informal settlements, and the backlog in housing demand. The most recent updates, such as the SUDS DMC-12 series of 2019, provide refinements that emphasize climate resilience, infrastructure provision, and livable communities. Today's lecture will talk about the technical planning and design guidelines, legal scope, and the permitting and compliance framework that every architect must observe when working on housing developments governed by BP 220. By the end of this session, you should be able to explain the legislative intent and the scope of BP 220, identify key technical planning standards for site development and building design, interpret updated regulations through recent issuances such as DMC-12 series of 2019, evaluate how architectural design can address socialized housing needs. These objectives are aligned with the required competencies for board examination preparation. And more importantly, they underscore your role in shaping equitable and sustainable communities. Your work as future architects must be both technically compliant and socially responsive. BP 220 is not simply a set of design rules, it is a tool to enable dignity and basic human rights in housing. You'll need to apply your architectural judgment within this legal framework, balancing affordability with safety and quality of life. Let us approach this session not as an exercise in code memorization, but as an opportunity to explore how design serves the most vulnerable populations when supported by legal infrastructure. BP 220 was promulgated in 1982 to institutionalize planning and design standards specific to economic and socialized housing projects. It was part of a broader legal initiative under the Ministry of Human Settlements, which is now DSUD, to address the post-war housing crisis and rapid urban migration. This law was crafted to allow for flexibility in housing projects serving lower income groups, thereby making it distinct from PD 957, which regulates middle to high income subdivisions and condominiums. While PD 957 emphasizes developer obligations to buyers, BP 220 focuses on site level planning and minimum construction standards that make mass housing viable. Economic housing refers to dwellings for families who can afford modest housing with limited subsidy, while socialized housing targets the underprivileged and homeless, often developed in partnership with the LGUs, NGOs, or government agencies. Both classifications require compliance with BP 220 standards. With continuing urbanization and natural hazards such as flooding and earthquakes, the relevance of BB 220 has only increased. Architectural compliance is no longer about mere floor areas or setbacks. It must account for resilience, accessibility, and community integration. The law covers both horizontal and vertical housing developments, particularly those that fall under socialized and economic classifications. It applies to single, detached, duplex, and row house dwellings, as well as mid-rise multifamily dwellings under specific density limits. BP 220 standards govern the design of roads, drainage, lot sizes, open space allocation, utilities, and even construction materials. Importantly, it provides for reduced technical requirements. For example, the narrower road right-of-ways or smaller lots, when compared to higher income residential regulations to support affordability. The 2023 e-library update reinforces the application of BP 220 in projects funded or accredited by housing authorities such as NHA, Pag-ibig, and DSUD. It underscores the dual goal of the law to expand access to decent shelter and ensure compliance with minimum planning and construction quality. Architects must apply this law not only in compliance but also in advocacy, ensuring that all Filipinos, regardless of socio-economic status, have the opportunity to live in well-planned, structurally sound, and dignified communities. Under BP 220, site selection is one of the most critical phases of housing development. Projects must be located on land that is safe, non-hazardous, and suitable for development. The terrain must allow for proper drainage and must not be prone to flooding, landslide, or soil liquefaction. According to the DMC 12 series of 2019 update, sites should also be evaluated for proximity to employment, education, and basic services. This supports the goal of integration into the urban fabric rather than spatial segregation of the poor. Sites isolated from essential infrastructure are discouraged, as they lead to unsustainable and underutilized communities. Environmental assessments are mandatory, and project proponents must consult the Environmental Compliance Certificate process under the Department of Environment and Natural Resources for larger scale developments. Architects must ensure that the proposed site layout integrates natural features and conforms to terrain limitations. The principle of site suitability is not limited to physical geography, it includes social sustainability. BP 220 encourages community-oriented planning, which requires collaboration with LGUs, utility providers, and civil society groups to ensure long-term functionality and acceptance. BP 220 provides specific land use allocation standards to promote balance in residential, recreational, and institutional and circulation spaces. At least 30% of the gross project area must be allocated for non-saleable uses such as the roads, the parks, playgrounds, and community facilities. For projects exceeding 1 hectare, developers are required to provide community facilities such as multi-purpose halls, livelihood centers, or daycare buildings. This promotes social cohesion and improved livability. Larger developments may also require provisions for school sites and open spaces consistent with LGU land use plans. Open space requirements are not merely regulatory. They serve as a vital buffer for heat, ventilation, and disaster risk reduction. BP 220 mandates minimum sizes for parks, play areas, and other green zones that encourage healthy living and active lifestyles, particularly for children and the elderly. From a design perspective, architects must creatively balance maximum allowable saleable area with the community's quality of life features. Efficient clustering, shared courtyards, and compact layouts are recommended to optimize land use while still complying with the open space minimums. Road design under BP 220 follows a hierarchy based on function and accessibility. Main roads, collector roads, and minor local roads. Main roads serve as primary access and should connect to public transportation routes, while minor roads link interior clusters. For socialized housing, the minimum right-of-way for main road is 8 meters, while collector road requires 6.5 meters and minor roads 6 meters. For economic housing, these dimensions are slightly larger. Dead-end roads longer than 30 meters must provide a cul-de-sac with a 9-meter radius. Pathways and alleys are also regulated. Pedestrian pathways must have a minimum width of 1.2 meters and be interconnected to promote walkability and emergency access. Service alleys for row houses must be at least 2 meters wide to facilitate utility maintenance. Proper road design ensures emergency access, walkability, and transportation integration. Architects must provide a road network plan that complies with these requirements and is supported by clear circulation diagrams, including ingress and egress for fire trucks and service vehicles. BP 220 defines minimum lot and dwelling sizes to ensure safety and basic habitability. For socialized housing, the minimum lot area is 64 square meters, and the minimum floor area is 22 square meters. For economic housing, the minimum lot area is 72 square meters with a floor area of 30 square meters. These minimums may be adjusted through vertical development such as in low-rise or mid-rise housing projects. Especially in high-density urban areas, in such cases, design efficiency and shared amenities must compensate for limited space. All dwelling units must allow for cross-ventilation and natural lighting. The minimum habitable room size is 6 square meters, and all living areas must meet sanitation and occupancy standards. Under the Sanitation Code and Housing Code, architects must optimize small spaces using efficient floor layouts and modular construction techniques. Though despite limitations, units must retain architectural quality, structural integrity, and basic comfort. Setback requirements under BP 220 are generally more flexible than PD 957 to accommodate affordability. However, minimum front setbacks of 1.5 meters and rear and side setback of 1.5 meters are still enforced, especially in single detached and duplex units. Building height limitations are generally tied to structural safety and zoning compatibility. Most socialized housing projects are single to two-story buildings, though economic projects may go up to 3 stories, provided adequate structural design is demonstrated. Completion levels refer to the state of the dwelling turnover. Under BP 220, a unit may be delivered as bare or with a structured shell or semi-complete with doors, windows, roofing, and plumbing, or fully furnished, depending on the development type and agreement with the buyer. Architects must clearly specify the level of completion in their designs, including finish schedules and scopes of work. This affects not just cost but also the permitting process, mortgage approval, and buyer satisfaction. BP 220 requires all housing projects to provide reliable utility services. Potable water must be sourced from a level 2 or 3 system with communal or individual connections. Water supply must meet the standards of the local water utilities administration or a certified utility provider. Drainage systems must ensure proper collection and outflow of stormwater. These include lined canals, curbs, gutters, and manholes. Designs must follow hydraulic calculations approved by the city engineering offices and must avoid directing runoff to adjacent private properties. Electricity must be available through a distribution utility, such as Meralco or electric cooperatives. All houses must be pre-wired and ready for metering. Street lighting is mandatory for all roads and open spaces, promoting both safety and usability of public areas. Architects must coordinate closely with the utility providers and civil engineers to ensure that all systems are properly designed, integrated, and documented in the construction drawings submitted for approval. Sanitation provisions under BP 220 require the inclusion of an effective wastewater disposal system in every housing project. This may be implemented through individual septic tanks or communal sewerage systems, depending on project scale and site conditions. Compliance with the National Plumbing Code and coordination with the Department of Health are essential. For solid waste management, developers must provide facilities for segregation, collection, and storage. This includes waste bins or collection areas within walking distance of all dwelling clusters. Provisions must align with the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act or RE 9003 and the LGU waste level ordinances. Fire safety features must include fire hydrants at appropriate intervals, which is every 150 meters in socialized housing, and clear emergency access routes for fire trucks. Residential clusters must maintain minimum road widths and turning radii per RA 9514 or Fire Code of the Philippines. As architects, it is your responsibility to incorporate these provisions into your design plans, ensuring not only code compliance, but also the long-term health, safety, and welfare of residents. Sanitation and fire safety must not be treated as afterthoughts, but as core elements of a habitable community. BP 220 allows a range of housing typologies, such as row houses, duplexes, and single detached units, each with its own design criteria. Row houses are common for socialized housing due to land efficiency, while duplexes and detached units are more prevalent in economic housing developments. Minimum structural requirements includes reinforced concrete foundations and masonry walls. Roofing must be weatherproof and structurally adequate. Roof pitches and overhangs must consider local climate conditions and promote passive cooling. Units must have clearly defined spaces for living, dining, sleeping, and sanitary use. Though floor areas may be modest, the internal layout must promote safety, privacy, and adaptability. Proper window placement for cross ventilation and light access is essential for energy efficiency and user comfort. The role of the architect is not merely to satisfy metrics, but to ensure quality of life within the limits set by BP 220. Creativity in compact design, flexible room arrangements, and thoughtful spatial planning are key to making each unit feel dignified and livable. All BP 220 projects must undergo a comprehensive planning and permitting process, including the submission of development permits, building permits, and eventually the certificate of completion and license to sell if it's applicable. The Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, or DSUD, oversees these proceedings in coordination with the LGUs. Site development plans, utility layouts, and architectural drawings must be approved by both the LGU departments and national agencies. The Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board, HLURB in the past, which is now DSUD, plays a key role in reviewing and monitoring, particularly for housing finance eligibility through pag-ibig or other funding sources. The architect must prepare and seal detailed plans, coordinate with engineers, and respond to comments during the plan review and inspection process. Any deviation from approved plans must be resubmitted and revalidated before implementation. Monitoring does not end at construction. The implementing agency may conduct post-occupancy inspections, and developers are accountable for defects within warranty periods. Architects therefore have a stake in ensuring that construction follows the approved specifications and quality standards. DMC-12 series of 2019 introduced updated technical guidelines and clarifications to harmonize BP 220 with other national policies and evolving urban planning concerns. Key revisions include provisions for climate resilience infrastructure, enhanced utility coordination, and inclusive community design. One of the major updates is the emphasis on resilient site planning, requiring developers to assess flood risk, slope stability, and geohazard data from agencies like the Mines and Geosciences Bureau, or MGB. Evacuation routes and disaster-resilient design measures are encouraged. The circular also encouraged the use of alternative building technologies such as modular systems, precast systems, and other cost-effective materials, provided they meet structural and safety standards. Architects are given more flexibility in proposing innovative yet code-compliant solutions. These updates reflect a shift toward more sustainable, safe, and responsive housing. As professionals, your role includes keeping current with these circulars and integrating them into every phase of planning and design, especially when working with vulnerable or underprivileged communities. So in conclusion, BP 220 is more than a regulatory document. It is a blueprint for inclusive, dignified, and safe living environment. It empowers architects to meet national housing goals while ensuring that minimum standards are upheld for both quality and community life. the law provisions, the law's provisions on planning infrastructure, utilities, and architecture create a holistic framework for developing meaningful shelter. Updates like the DMC 12 series of 2019 reflect the need to adapt these standards to modern concerns such as climate change, urban density, and social integration. Your role as future architects is central to the success of BB 220. It demands not just design skills but ethical responsibility, cultural awareness, and continuous coordination with technical disciplines and government bodies also. So your assignment class is going to prepare a two-page site development concept for a 1 hectare socialized housing project compliant with BB 220. You have to include the road hierarchy, land use allocation, and sample unit layouts. Submit also a short reflection on how your design supports affordability, safety, and livability. For more details about this class, can you refer to our Padlet link? See you next week.